enter your room, you forget, why you've entered the room. Somebody's just given you a task and that completely slips out of your mind. That's not a memory problem. That's an attention problem. Now, I've seen people, especially those CEO level people, most of them have attentional concerns. There's also sometimes a sense of impatience and impulsivity. You cannot sit idly, even for a second. You need to keep, doing something. You need to keep, taking your phone, scrolling reels, etc. If you're able to binge watch on a show, if you're able to, scroll reels on social media, then the problem isn't attention itself, it's the novelty. It's like, throwing new toys for a puppy, and obviously the puppy is going to wander around. It's not going to stay still in one place, because it's getting that sense of novelty. So I feel that is the main issue. They're reading a book or they're watching a film and getting distracted. They're not able to, keep track of what's going on. I'll simply ask them to get a digital calculator. Okay, set a timer of 5 minutes. Note down the number of times you're getting distracted. Oh yeah, before it was Dr. Google. Now it's Dr. ChatGPT.
This one's about attention span. So maybe we just begin with what is happening to our attention span, and at what stage should it become worrisome?
Yes.
Is everyone walking around with like an ADHD syndrome today?
So I'll tell you my personal experience with the kind of the health checkups that I do. So obviously in my health checkup, these are primarily meant for healthy people.
Right.
So we have what we measure is a person's ability to sustain their attention, their processing speed, and their memory.
Right.
Now, I've seen people, especially those CEO level people, most of them have attentional concerns.
Right.
Obviously, primarily attributing that to, how busy they are. They're like perpetually on their phones, they're juggling, multitasking, dealing with 10, 15 things at a time, So, this is something that I am seeing very commonly, like people of all age groups have some attentional issue. But I've always personally believed that attention is something that's highly trainable. Even if you have a pathological condition like ADHD or, a stroke-related attentional issue, I feel it's highly trainable. Again, coming back to this entire principle of neuroplasticity that I was talking about, with certain modules, you can definitely train your attention.
Got it. So that's actually the good news, right? So, but let me ask you this, and because you mentioned outside of, let's say, cognitive testing, which very clearly can give you, reports of where you are compared to other people of your age and gender. If somebody is watching this conversation and everyone's now also self-prescribing themselves through ChatGPT, but let's leave that aside for a second. What are maybe one or two signs in their life that you would say that is normal from an attentional deficit perspective? And what would you say if they are exhibiting that symptom in their daily life, they should get a neurocognitive testing done or see a mental health clinician? So just help us make that distinction.
When attention becomes a problem, you're talking to somebody and you lose trail of thoughts. You don't remember what the person has said a minute ago.
Okay.
You enter your room, you forget, why you've entered the room. Somebody's just given you a task and that completely slips out of your mind. That's not a memory problem. That's an attention problem.
Okay.
Jumping from one thing to the next, because you're bored of that. Your brain cannot, dedicate those resources to a task. So you'd want to shift from one YouTube video to the next, right? You're not able to focus on one thing. There's also sometimes a sense of impatience and impulsivity. You cannot sit idly, even for a second. You need to keep, doing something. You need to keep, taking your phone, scrolling reels, etc. I obviously feel that, if you're able to binge watch on a show, if you're able to, scroll reels on social media, then the problem isn't attention itself, it's the novelty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, it's like, throwing new toys, for a puppy, and obviously the puppy is going to wander around, it's not going to stay still in one place, because it's getting that sense of novelty. So I feel that is the main issue.
Okay. So
but definitely the issues that the concerns that we spoke about, some seconds ago, if a person, has these things, they should definitely get tested.
Got it. And what kind of, you said that, it's also trainable. So what practices or what tools or exercises give you hope that it is trainable, or what evidence have you seen that tells you that, attention is trainable? Especially in this day and age, it can be very encouraging news for anybody watching it, because,
absolutely.
we are only seeing a downward trend, but...
absolutely. In terms of attentional training, I always encourage people to do tasks that mimic their daily lives.
Okay.
Obviously there are a lot of different protocols, which come by playing iPad games, etc. You have, brain games like Elevate, like Peak, etc. So brain training apps, this is, I've read a lot of papers and, scientific studies on it. And your attention and processing speed are the only two things that actually improve via cognitive drills, via these brain games and attentional drills. But this is mainly meant for people, with pathological attentional concerns.
Got it.
Right? But what I generally prefer is kind of mimicking, like attentional rehabilitation in more everyday tasks. So I'll just give you an example, with a few patients, I've given them a task to set a goal, identifying the problem, in which areas you're having a problem, focusing your attention. So say, for example, if they tell me they're reading a book or they're watching a film and getting distracted, they're not able to, keep track of what's going on. I'll simply ask them to get a digital calculator, okay? Set a timer of 5 minutes, okay? Note down the number of times you're getting distracted, okay? What I've realized is, over a period of time, people who had a frequency of, say, for example, getting distracted 5 times, in a few weeks' time, or even a few days, in a few days' time, that's gone down to 1 time in 5 minutes. So, and this is the crux of mindfulness-based meditation.
Right.
So mindfulness is not about, sitting and meditating. It's more about catching a distractive thought, before you get, before you fly away with it. So it's recognizing when you're getting distracted.
Got it.
That's more important.
Very helpful. And as we come towards the end of this, I have 2 questions, which is very closely linked to what we are seeing in our day-to-day work, which is this excess use of AI. And you spoke so much about cognition.
Yeah.
I have one starter question to begin with.
Yeah.
But do you think that AI is making us dumber as people, or is it making us smarter?
That's a very controversial question. I don't believe AI is making us dumber. Obviously, it's the way you use AI, right? In terms of like, people also come and tell me, oh, we used to remember phone numbers before.
Correct.
Now I'm not able to remember numbers because, we don't have that habit anymore. We store it on our phones. But didn't we always use, compensatory methods? Like even back in the days, we used diaries and whatnot to write down phone numbers.
Correct. Or
like we used a lot of,
directories.
obviously now we have, like digital notes, etc. But back in the days also we've used that, and I feel AI can be useful in a way that you're not relying on it for everything.
Okay.
You're also using your own cognition, because that is important. If you're using it, for things that, just to kind of get some info about, a topic, etc. If it's also to outsource things that you don't have time for, like writing emails or letters or whatever, so it's very beneficial there. But now if you're using it for every single thing to draft a simple message, I think that's a concern.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And
so this obviously, like, outsourcing things to AI also makes good, like, a lot of space in your brain to dedicate it to other things.
yeah. And one more question linked to AI is this self-prescription or self-diagnosis. Do you see that often in your practice where people come and say that, doctor, I have ABCD condition, I'm sure, now give me a prescription or tell me what I should do with it. A, are you seeing it? And B, how do you deal with it as a medical practitioner?
Oh yeah, before it was Dr. Google. Now it's Dr. ChatGPT.
Okay. True.
It's always been the case again.
Okay.
But yeah, this is happening more and more. You know, people are coming with, you know, questions generated. In fact, you know, I had a family meeting just today. And the entire the entire reason for the family meet was because, you know, there were questions generated,
Okay.
you know, through AI.
How did you know?
Not to do that.
They came with a printout. They came with a printout.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. So yeah, this happens quite often. Like, people just make their own protocols. You know, through ChatGPT, they generate these worksheets, etc. So you still need that sort of human touch.
Yeah.
Like I said, the activity should mimic your daily life.
Yeah.
You know, I feel AI just gives you a very generic program. Like, ask the person. Now, if you're sitting with a person who's been a CEO of a very big company, now you ask him to cancel letters from a newspaper. I mean, that's not going to be very stimulating for a person.
Correct.
He's like, why am I doing this ABCD?
Correct.
So things should mimic a person's interest.
Yeah.
And should mimic more real life activities. So say, for example, if the person was into stocks, you know, give him some simulations to do with stocks.
Got it.
You know, so there you need that sort of that individualistic,
individualized guidance.
personalized touch.
Got it. I'm going to close this by going back to one of the lines you just said, which was use it before you lose it, or use it or lose it.
If you don't use it,
if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So as we outsource more and more of our cognition, not just memory, but even reasoning to, you know, these AI engines.
Yeah.
Where do you as a, let's say, and this question is not to you as a practitioner, but where do you draw the line and sort of saying that, okay, this is what I will outsource my cognitive, out of all the cognitive tasks I have to do, this is something I will outsource and this is something I will not outsource. So help us just sort of end on that hopeful note.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, I don't use a lot of AI. I prefer doing things on my own. Like, I prefer drafting a message on my own, you know, for report writings, everything. I generally like to, you know, use my memory, use my word finding, language skills, right? So the way I use AI is to stimulate my cognition more.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm going to, like, say, for example, if I want to research about a topic, I want to find scientific papers, you know, around it. That's where I find AI very helpful.
Got it.
And also a way to, you know, sort of train my memory. I will go through it. I will, you know, try to repeat it in my own words. You know, so somewhere there is that fear of, you know, within me of also being dependent on AI.
Yeah. So you almost
But I'm not a very big...
Okay.
Sort of not very, very big on AI.
But you're being very conscious that you want to use your cognition.
Yeah, for other things
much
like, you know, like sending an email and things like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karishma, for being with us. This is a very enriching and an engaging conversation. I don't think we even took a break in between.
Thank you for
that. It was really a joy.